What's up,
Yo,
YouTube?
yo,
We are
yo,
now
what's up,
live.
everybody?
It's your boy Tenzin, 130 the SOS, and I'm here with my little brother B. And
What's up, y'all?
uh, our scheduled guest, I don't think he's gonna make it. However, I did watch one of his YouTube videos, and it did inspire me to talk about second chances, because
Okay.
that's what he got. And and, obviously, yeah, like there's a lot of people who definitely got a second chance, and they did phenomenal with it. Case in point,
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm X.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
this nigga was a gangster. He did drugs. I think, did he rob banks too? Like, I don't know, he did a lot of shit.
I never heard about the
But
robbing banks thing. I remember it was something like it was robbing houses. I remember that. But like,
okay, I think that's what he was committing burglary.
yeah. And I can't remember, was they pimping
I
too?
mean,
I can't remember if he was pimping or not, but
possible. But I mean,
yeah.
they probably accused him of pimping just because he dated white women at
Right.
the time, which that was
Right.
like illegal. Which that's not a crime. Like
Right.
that's not a moral crime. But it was a crime back then.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people in the rap game, rap gave them a second chance.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, and obviously, because people will sometimes use this analogy for people that are kind of like pieces of shit. Like, like you hear about insert somebody, getting arrested for
Mm-hmm.
obviously fucked up crime. And they'd be like, man, come on, man, you gotta give these niggas a second chance. If
Right.
Malcolm X never got a second chance, but it's like, yeah, see,
Right.
now the fucked up part about that logic, I mean, technically it is true. I mean, if he was to die
Right.
as Chicago Red, then yeah, he'd have just been Chicago Red. Like, yeah, people would just be like,
Right.
oh, well, that's the life he lived. However, he did get that chance to change. And,
Mm-hmm.
some of these folks, they kind of already got that second chance, but they squandered it anyway. Um, so yeah, man, that's like a kind of a topic I wanted to get into. What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on that, B?
I mean, I'm all for, giving people the grace to change and stuff like that. And, I think it's definitely important. Like if we, lived and if we lived, every day essentially, like being judged for the day before, like we'd all have a bad time. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I never want to like hold nobody's past too hard against them. However, I think the important thing is whether that person is actually committed to change or not, or how many chances is you trying to take up. Also, I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but did want to address he wasn't Chicago Red.
Huh?
His partner was Chicago Red. One of his partners,
Oh, so what
he
was his
was
nickname?
Malcolm X was Detroit Red.
Detroit
Detroit
Red.
Red.
See, these
Right.
Midwest
Yeah.
cities. Okay, I'm sorry.
Nah, it's fine.
If he
I
just
would have cut
died
you off earlier.
oh no, no, no,
I
no.
was going. I was
Yeah, yeah.
going. Yeah, I didn't know when to cut it in there because I want somebody to watch and be like, "What they talk about Chicago?" No, so yeah, it was Detroit Red. He wasn't Chicago. He was Detroit. So
See,
anyway, um, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm all for like giving people like the grace, and also too like because I think one of the things, yeah, we do got to acknowledge that people are flawed and mess up and stuff like that. But like, you know, a couple bumps on the road here and there isn't an issue. But when you're bumping every 2 days, it's like now it's just like it's like,
like, all
bro,
right,
like how
nigga.
many? Yeah, it's like how many chances can I give you before it's finally a time to like just accept that this is who you are? And then also too, it
Right.
depends on A, what mistake you made, and then B, who you're asking for forgiveness. You know what I mean? Because like if you're asking people to give you a second chance and it's like society as a whole, sure. But when it comes to, let's say, if you hurt somebody, then you know what I mean? It's kind of just like, uh, you know, yeah, would it be nice if they forgave you? Sure, but it shouldn't be required.
Yeah, see, like with individuals, yeah, you can't really control that.
Right.
Like, and that's and that is like kind of a harsh reality. I mean, yeah, like sometimes, we can trigger somebody to the point where they don't want to fuck with us no more. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And that's their right. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's your right to
Right.
not fuck with anybody who triggers you.
Because
But
like I
yeah,
think
but
an
okay, go ahead.
example of this I had seen, not like recently, but within the past couple of years, there was a dude who used to be on YouTube, heavy, named iDubbbz. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And
I heard the name, yeah.
he was real big when
He
I
did
was
all
in
those
like,
like race jokes and shit. Like,
it was a bunch of different stuff. So like for instance, he was big when I was in high school, and he had a whole bunch of like little controversies and stuff. He would always, I don't know, for anybody who's unaware, the early 2010s on the internet was like wild, wild west. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to use this as an excuse, but people was wilding on there.
yeah.
Especially if you got into the pocket of YouTube that iDubbbz and stuff was in. He was in that pocket with like Filthy Frank and John Tron and all that, like that sort of space. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he'd be wilding. He'd make all these crazy videos and stuff like that. Now, granted, his stuff wasn't explicitly about like race or homophobia or something like that, but he definitely touched on them themes. And I remember the biggest incident was there was this chick who I still don't remember why she was famous, but there's this chick who used to be on YouTube called Tana Mongo or whatever you say her name.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
for some reason he just had this thing against her and like was like kept like going after her and stuff. And then he
Yeah.
infiltrated her convention. It was a long time ago. Infiltrated her convention, went up to her like, and I guess she didn't know what he looked like. Went up to her, and when they went to pose for the picture, they said 3, 2, 1, and he just yelled the N word at the picture, and like
Oh
it
damn.
caused her to like freak out. Security came, he got rushed away. They took her. She immediately left.
What was her race? What was she
She's
black or
white.
was she?
No, she's white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just like it was just like a photo bomb type thing. But like and then like it caused her to have like a breakdown and she like left the convention and it ruined the convention for like all the people who came to go see her. Like it was like a huge scandal at the time. So, I want to say about a year or two ago, because he had stopped doing videos for a decent while. I want to say about a year or two ago, he made a video pretty much talking about all the content he used to make. And he pretty much was like, yeah, like I was whack. Like, a lot of the stuff I did was whack, especially what I did to her. You know what I'm saying? And he essentially was asking the internet for forgiveness and pretty much making a commitment on bettering himself and doing other stuff. He's like, I got like a wife and I'm pretty sure he got a kid now. I can't remember. But essentially he was like, yeah, like that was crazy. Like I was wilding on here. And
Okay.
a lot of the reactions to that were very mixed. There were a lot of people who was like, okay, well, hey, he acknowledged he was an a-hole. He took accountability for essentially every bad thing he did. This should at least start a pathway of forgiveness. However, there was a decent amount of people, mainly people of color and people from marginalized groups,
Right.
who felt that, yeah, you know, he was awful then and he shouldn't be allowed to just skate off into the sunset, off of that. And like there were people, and I remember I watched this. I remember I like read this tweet from like this black girl, and she was talking about like how horrible it was being one of the only black girls in her school and hearing the little white boys say some of the stuff that he would say. Like I said, I was in high school during that time. I didn't really watch his stuff like that. I used to watch it every once in a while. I'll be honest, I was tapped into a lot of that side of YouTube then, and it could be too like I did have like low both self-esteem and racial self-esteem at that time, so I was kind of just like,
Right. Yeah.
I was exploring a whole bunch of stuff. Granted, I wasn't on no like coon type stuff. I'll never
Right. Right.
accept that title, but I definitely would watch some stuff that like I realize now was crazy. But even back then, I wasn't too comfortable with him. I think where I jumped off the train was that Tana Mongo thing because like I said, I never heard of the girl, so I didn't hear anything bad that she'd ever did for him to constantly be whining about her, and then like to do what he did at her event and shout the N word like that. And there was kids there, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember at the
Oh
time, I
damn.
was like,
Okay.
yeah, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah. He's
um,
he's definitely should have recognized the audience that was present at the time for sure.
yeah, like it was crazy. But and I remember when I was like taking this all in as somebody who was a casual or not barely even casual watcher of him, I was like, my first thing was like, okay, well, if he apologizes, whatever. And then I was seeing some of the people saying, oh, F him, I'll never forgive him. And I remember at the time, I was kind of operating from this mindset of like, oh, well, I mean, if you're sorry, then yeah, we should accept sorries before they turn bad. But then again, even though there were some people in my life who at the time were kind of cringy and said stuff that was bad, I don't think I'd ever been disrespected to that level because of his content. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's hard for me to judge them like that black people like that black girl on Twitter who essentially was like, yo, like his actions and turned my life into turmoil. So
Mm.
yeah, that's what I always think about when it comes to like accepting of second chances or apologies and stuff. It's just like it depends on who what your impact was, like what the impact of your actions were, and who that impacted.
Right. Yeah, because well, going back to JonTron, I remember, back when Tumblr had the porn on there. I used to be on there and stuff, but like I liked other stuff on there too. But anyway, there was this one chick that I was following. Like I kept seeing her saying, "Nah, fuck JonTron, he's a piece of shit," and I was
Right.
just like, "Hey, whoa, what the fuck?" I mean, like, granted, like he would say cuss words and stuff, but I always saw his content as like, kind of clean. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
compared to the other edgy motherfuckers out there. But I finally listened to his conversation with Destiny, and I was like, "Holy shit, this nigga! Whoa,
Yeah.
damn! You couldn't keep that shit in the drafts, like." And like me personally, I mean, I don't necessarily watch JonTron anymore. However, I don't necessarily hate him either. But it seems like, I mean, from what I'm hearing, it seems like he's doing okay. I think he's been back to doing,
Mm-hmm.
game reviews and stuff like that.
I
So,
didn't even know he came back again because I remember he had tried to come back like two times after that, and
oh
either he
really?
would say something crazy again, or like people would just be like, "Yo, ain't this you?" Like
Oh,
and
so
he
you see,
would go.
I ain't hear him say nothing crazy the second time. Like, 'cause I remember, of course, when he was going through all that, Sargon of Akkad, he was kind of like big back then, so he kind of like had like a little cope stream with him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which of course Sargon of Akkad
Right, I was about
agrees
to
with
say
this nigga.
Sargon. Yeah, Sargon was bad racist himself, so that didn't mean nothing to
Right, and
him.
because usually that's what happens, right? Like, when niggas
Yeah.
like fuck up, like they fall into the right wing grift. Well, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
classical liberal, that's what they'll call themselves.
Right.
Um, but like another good point, And now, granted, he didn't like commit any crimes or necessarily like hurt anyone or say anything, disparaging against any groups. However, you know who I'm about to say, this rapper from Washington, D.C., had some comments to say about a recently deceased rapper from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that
Mm-hmm.
weren't so good. And and I think maybe what just last year the rap community as a whole was starting to forgive him. Like I mean, I forgave him like a little earlier than that, but
Last
at the
thing I
same
seen about
time, it's
him was
like,
I did remember like on Twitter there was a run of people. I think it might have been last year where people was talking about what was that song, that big single of his that put him on like nationally? Cause they using
oh,
money all
uh,
around me,
yeah, crew.
like
I
I'm
think.
the man. What'd you say?
I think
Crew.
it's
That's
called
right.
Crew.
Crew. By the way, we talking about Gold Link for anybody who don't know. But yeah, Crew. Yeah, I saw people on Twitter like last year. It was either last year or the year before. Was like hyping up Crew, talking about like how dope Crew was and everything, and like how it was fire. Which like it was. It's an amazing song. Like I still listen to it every
Yeah,
once in a while. Like so.
I still don't
uh
understand. Like, this is like a running joke between me and B. Like near the end of Gold Link's verse, this is like if we would had to write the subtitles, this would be all question mark. I'm like, damn, what the fuck did he say?
Wait a minute,
Like,
man,
I
man, man.
always be telling myself
Wait
I
a
need to
minute,
look up
man,
the
man,
lyrics. I'm like, yeah, you lost me there. Like,
yeah, no,
but yeah, I'm sorry,
but
B. Go ahead though.
no, I was saying, no, it was literally just that. I was just like, I saw people hyping up that song in like a year, either last year or the year before.
Okay,
But yeah, I hadn't seen anybody like really champion his music. Granted, I don't even know if he's dropped
right.
nothing recently. That's how far off of
I
him I fell.
I
What?
thought he I thought he released something like maybe either last year or a couple years ago. I thought he probably dropped a single. And I saw people like, and, and I actually looked at the comments. I was like, okay, like, or maybe he posted something, but I was like, okay, he's actually not being ratioed. So I'm guessing
Right,
maybe the hip hop community is finally coming back around.
right.
But I gotta say that
Oh yeah, he dropped something last year.
okay,
Yeah, he dropped the
but
album
that
May.
comment really, but that post that I was talking about, that really like killed the momentum that he was on.
Right,
Like I mean, maybe now his shit can recover, and hopefully
right,
he'll know, like, okay, let me run my post by a publicist first before
right.
I say anything about a dead person, especially like and I'm talking about Mac Miller, by the way, and especially like a like respected dead person.
Well,
You
and
know what
I
I
think
mean?
the issue with that, like, not to get too far off topic with what we was talking about, but like, I think the main issue when it came to that situation wasn't even just that he said it. He waited till like, because I swear it was like a couple months after the death
Right.
that he just it was out of the blue. Like, granted, it would have been worse if he posted it when he died, but still, it was just like out of the blue. Couple months later, was just like, dang, yeah, I've been sitting here thinking about you and how we used to hang out. Also, I was thinking about the fact that you stole the title to my album. Everyone was like, "Yo, what? Like, why would you even? Why would you write that? Like, that
Yeah.
was crazy. That's like
But
that was the primary consensus that I was seeing during that time. Was everybody was like,
yeah,
"What
like
prompted
you
this?"
held this in your chest that long, and like, yeah, like this nigga was alive for you to say it. Apparently, like if
Exactly. You
you
know what I'm saying?
know,
And also, it didn't help that apparently there were allegations that he had similar issues with his music.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I remember at the time when people was mad at him, they was like bringing up like maybe there was like a girl on one of his songs who was like upset that like either he cut her verse over some petty stuff, or I think even he might not have even put her name on the song. It was something crazy like that happened with like a singer, like a lesser known singer on his song. But regardless, it was just like, don't it's a weird thing to do when A, you got similar allegations, and B, you know, it was just a weird thing to do. Period. Like he shouldn't have done it. Like I mean, I think about the same thing with like it wasn't hit the backlash wasn't as bad, but he still got a like Vic Mensa. You know what I'm saying? Like remember Vic
What
Mensa
was his
did the same
controversy?
with XXX Tentacion. He was talking about like something about oh y'all crying over this man and he beat women and all this other stuff. And remember because he said something
You
about
know,
how like your favorite rapper's an abuser. And then like a lot of people was flaming him because it was like, bro, you got the same charges. Like,
interesting.
and it was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Damn, throwing rocks on a glass house. But I was gonna say too, like just speaking on that, like, and this ties perfect to second chances. I mean, whew. I mean, Tentacion, complex individual. That's all
yeah,
I say.
yeah,
But on my side of the internet, like it was weird because it's like niggas was like, well, when I say niggas, I mean like the wild, I guess whatever feminists who heard about Tentacion at the time and didn't
hmm
know his music, they were just jumping for joy that this nigga died. I'm like, hey,
right,
yo, like, whoa, damn, nigga, like, and and it seemed like maybe just maybe he was changing for the better. I'm not one of those
right,
psychotic, Tentacion niggas that's like, oh no, man, she was lying. No, I saw them pictures. Like,
right,
yeah, her eyes were swelled the fuck up. But it seemed like they were separate or he was really trying to be better. I don't know. We will never know. And that's
yeah,
and that was one of the things I was talking about. Is just like, well, damn, like, well, he died too soon for us to
right,
know if he was actually really about that, change.
exactly.
Was he coming around to
hmm
be a more positive figure? I don't know.
Right.
But as the cringy feminist did say, I mean, well, unfortunately, this nigga died an abuser. Well, a known
Right.
abuser.
Right.
But to be fair to him though, like he whooped everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was
I'm
whooping
about to.
everyone. Like,
Yeah. I mean, part of the whole thing too, when it comes to like, judging people, I will say, like, sometimes I do have an issue too, where it's like, yeah, you could judge somebody based on stuff you actually know about, but then like I kind of get mad when people like try to throw stuff in with people just because they're mad at them. Like, so for instance, with X, one of the things I really hated about all the discourse about his quote unquote like, you know, issues was people tried to throw in the fight he had in jail as part of it. And it was like,
yeah,
oh,
trying to
he
call him
beat up a
homophobic,
gay
but it's
man in
like
jail. I'm like, bruh, he was in
that's
jail.
jail.
Like,
That's
I'm like,
jail. Like you got to
what
be
are
a
y'all
different person
talking
in there.
about? Like, bro, yes, he was an abuser. Yes, he had violence, a part of it, a part of his past, which he openly talked about. But no, we're not throwing in him having to fight in jail, bro. Like, that's not.
Yeah, they were
And it,
reaching.
the way they tried to frame it as like, oh, he just was going around beating up gay dudes. It was jail. Like,
Right.
I
Like and
just,
and that gay dude probably did something to end up in there too. Like
right,
let's
exactly.
pull his
Like,
rap
it
sheet
was
out
just
real quick. Like,
right. Like, yeah, I just, I mean, the same thing, like, it along with second chances, I think it's also important to talk about like when it comes to like quote unquote public scrutiny. Like sometimes I get upset with that, like, and I don't want to make this a whole cancel culture thing, but sometimes I feel like people don't know how to have nuanced takes. And I don't even think that's a new thing, but I think it's gotten worse with like the internet. And I actually know that's not separate because I will say, I almost said these two topics were separate, but I think public scrutiny and second chances are both like neck and neck these days. You know
right,
what I'm saying? It's
right.
just like because people I think people have a intense desire for public scrutiny now, especially because too with the internet, everything is so anonymous. We're at the point where I think some people are, and granted, I know we was just talking about how not everybody is owed a second chance, but I feel like there are people now who can't properly get a second chance because people is so like rampant. Like they like everybody loves to see a public hanging. You know what I'm saying? And like, I do have issues with that sometimes too. It's just like, how do y'all expect some of these people to do better if you're constantly up their ass every day? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it, I have issues with that as well.
Yeah, and and speaking of like, and there's some second chances that are like, and as we said before, it's like obviously not everybody's owed a second chance, and even
Right.
if society as a whole forgives somebody, like yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be certain people that's still gonna be like, nah, fuck that. Now, this is a very unpopular opinion that I hold, which, and I do acknowledge that most of these people are probably racist, but there's people who still will never ever forgive Michael Vick for that dogfighting shit, and they don't
Right.
have to. Like however, I mean, I think the NFL, I mean, yeah, they were right to like kind of move on from it, but yeah,
Right.
there are legit animal lovers out there. They're gonna be like, they see a number 7, they be like, like they go.
Right. I think
You even
where
mentioned the
my issue
Falcons, they
came
gonna be
from
like,
that,
you know,
granted, I was a child when this happened, but I think my issue when it came to the Michael Vick stuff, because like, yeah, I get that there are people who genuinely are animal lovers who were disgusted by that. However, I think a lot of people didn't take the time to look into certain stuff. Like, for instance, okay, he wasn't fighting the dogs. It was his cousin on his property. Now, granted, it don't make it much better, but like still,
right, yeah, he was
like,
still peasant, like like,
right. And then, I think another issue I have too is like, I'm not gonna say we should 100% throw it out, but at the same time, there are, and let's face it, there are white football players who have harmed
mhm.
people. And I
Yeah,
don't
I
mean to be
mean,
callous, but like, I
right,
place
yeah.
humanity over dogs every day.
Oh,
And
and
I've
yeah, that's
I've seen
yeah.
people will make every excuse in the book for some of them players who hurt actual people, and y'all want to cry over some dogs. You know what I mean? And I think that's where
Right.
I
I
always
mean,
got upset. It's just like,
like
at the
I
end
was
of the
gonna,
day,
yeah,
them is dogs. Like,
yeah,
and
and I was gonna say too, like granted, I did not follow those sexual harassment slash sexual assault allegations, but I mean, what like Big Ben, he got them shits hurled at him, and what do them Pittsburgh fans do? Shit, as long as he can still throw some touchdowns, nigga, we
yep,
good. Like
that's
so,
that's
and
exactly
yeah,
that's
like you
exactly what
said,
it
he was
is.
hurting the person. Like
Yeah,
there was a nigga who played for the Titans who committed vehicular homicide. He can still
right.
play.
Yeah.
Like
And
so. Of
granted,
course,
this
Ray
dude's
Lewis.
black, so it kind
Like
of, yeah. I was about to say I was going to bring up Ray Lewis. Like, Ray Lewis is, it was the complete opposite of Michael Vick. Ray Lewis killed somebody and blamed his cousin, whereas Michael Vick's cousin killed some dogs and blamed him. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, it's just like there was two separate things. Like, and I'd argue the Ray Lewis thing is 1,000% worse. Like, and
Right. And
that was my issue as a kid too. Like, when it came, because you brought up Big Ben, I'm glad you did, because when Mike Vick came here, I think, when was I? I think I was still in middle school when that happened, or if I'm
okay.
getting the dates right. No, no, I wasn't. No, wait, it might have been like border of 8th grade, 9th grade when that happened. And I remember hearing all of the stuff. It was like, how can you stoop so low as an organization to have a man like that on the team? I'm like, sir, the person he's backing up was accused, and I'm not saying he did it because I wasn't there, but he was accused of raping 2 women. Or actually, no, I think it was 3. No, no, I'm tripping. It was 2. It was 2. It was 2.
Okay.
Um, uh, but still, it's like, okay, and let's say, like for me, like I'm not going to say Big Ben actually did it because I wasn't there. I can't say he did it. I wasn't there. I don't know
Mhm.
Big Ben personally, but even, but let's say for the sake of argument, he did do it. Okay, or actually no. Let me frame it a different way. There is more evidence to Big Ben raping them women than there was Mike Vick killing them dogs. Because I'm pretty sure Mike Vick wasn't even home when the dog fights was happening. Because from what I had heard about the Mike Vick story, his cousin, because it was like the property was huge. His cousin had like
Yeah.
a little mini hut at the edge of the property, and Mike Vick was like, "Okay, do you?" And the cousin was hosting dog fights in there. Now, and then
Mhm.
when the police came, the cousin was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if y'all arrested the guy who owned the property and not me?" Like, and again, like, sure, should Mike Vick have been doing more due diligence on what his cousin was doing? Sure. But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest. I would never have suspected that my cousin was fighting no dogs on the edge of my property.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't think I would. But I guess, to my
But
point, there was more because we know for a fact Big Ben was drinking in them bars with them women. So
oh
we
yeah.
got more evidence against Big Ben with them women in them stalls than we do Mike Vick raping them dogs. And yet all them yinzers here was, I mean, they was locking up their dogs. You would think Mike Vick was personally coming to the crib and be like, "Hey, I got a pit bull. I need your terrier to fight right now." You know what I'm saying? Like it was like you would think he was hosting fights in the middle of Heinz Field. Like they was tripping.
I
Like
mean, but you know what though? Like, and that's the power of public opinion. Like, look, like, Chalk, peace be upon her. If she was still alive and Michael Vick came to the house, I'd be like, stay downstairs. But
yeah,
I would have done stay downstairs. But but nah, like, I mean, but during the whole thing, like, it was very fucked up how they did him. Like, first off, they when they sentenced him to jail, like, I don't, I think he wasn't allowed to train. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, bro,
dude.
goddamn, like y'all taking, y'all stripping his money making,
Right.
powers away. You know what I'm saying? But luckily he came to Philly and was able to do decent, which I didn't know he had a stint in Pittsburgh either. Like I knew he was on the
Yeah,
Eagles.
I can't remember how long he was here. He wasn't here long though, because them white people, it was mainly white people. Before y'all start getting mad, it was mainly y'all. Y'all know it was you who
Of
was
course.
ticked off that he was here. I mean, they was mad. Like I remember being a kid watching the news when he first got signed here. Like, and they was doing the street interviews, and you should have like seen and heard these people talk about this man. Like it was like you would think Hitler just dropped off the plane. Like it was so wild. Like it was it was crazy. And I was sitting there like, also he wasn't the starter. That's the other thing people
Right.
like need to realize.
They just
He wasn't even
the fact
starter.
that the name Vic was even on the roster was just
Exactly, bro. Like that was the thing that was so crazy to me because like they was acting like he was here, like taking Big Ben's spot, and I'm like, bruh, do y'all know who we have as our main quarterback? How y'all sit there talking about y'all worried about the image of the Steelers when we got also I can't remember at the time, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was during the whole Jeff Reed kicker years too. Jeff Reed, not addiction is a disease. I don't want to make fun of Jeff Reed too bad for his addiction, but Jeff Reed used to get high as a kite, and he was punching out paper towel holders in bathrooms. Like he would, like what I mean. Like it was and also he had a horrific blonde hairdo at the time. I'm pretty sure Jeff Reed was still on the team at the time. If not, whatever, find me, whatever. But like again, we had already had our fair share of controversy here, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't none of that was new. You know what I'm saying? And y'all want to sit here and trip over Mike Vick? Like y'all was tripping off of Mike
right.
Vick.
And that goes into second chances, right? I mean, not only did Big Ben get a second chance, but I mean he barely caught any flack. I
Yeah,
mean, Vic did get a second chance, but holy fuck, did he have to go through some shit, right? So,
yeah.
um, and, also too, like now, see, this
Okay,
is
he was only here 1 year. He was in. Also, I was in high
just a
school when
year.
that
Okay,
happened. I was in high school. That was
okay.
2015. I don't know why my brain blanked out like that. Yeah, he was here as the backup, and then he got put in. I think because Ben had like hurt his knee. I think that year, and then I think he ended up retiring in 2016 because most likely the Rooney's probably sat him down and was like, bro, we can't sign you another year because like
Yeah.
they'd have tore that stadium apart if he got signed another year. Like they was already catching strays from everybody in the city over that.
But I think but I think what's Vic doing now? I mean, I think now he's just living
I
a
think he
comfortable life
coaches.
and
I think he coaches like a
okay,
high
yeah.
school team.
So now he's, living good, living comfortably. So, I mean, people can definitely turn their
Right,
selves around.
right,
Now, is Big Ben still out there being inappropriate with the women? We'll never know
right,
until it gets another headline.
right.
But so far it sounds like he's keeping clean, or maybe he hired Ray Donovan to make sure people stay quiet.
Yeah, that boy got second, third, or fourth chances up in there, boy. Like, yeah, man, want to talk about second chances? You know what I'm saying? Like, true. Or speaking, yeah, man. Or who else? You know, speaking of second chances, you want to talk about second chances? Your boy, Antonio Brown. You know what I'm saying? Antonio Brown had second,
Oh,
third,
was
fourth,
that the one
fifth.
who was that the one who stripped his uniform? He took his uniform off or something like during the game or something like that.
I think that was one of his antics. I can't remember. I know he was here for a long time. Then he went to the Patriots. No, he went to the Raiders first, then the Patriots. Uh, and then
Did he
I
ever play
think.
for Houston? I thought he played for Houston. Yes.
Oh, did he? See, I can't remember that.
I
Uh,
hold on, let me see.
Most
Antonio
recently, he
Brown.
got arrested in I think Dubai because
Oh my
I think he.
god.
Oh well, no, yeah, it was like an incident, which I'll be honest, I thought was kind of whack,
Yeah, he
but
did do that. Yeah.
yeah, I'll be
Yeah, he
honest. The
did
reason
strip.
he got arrested was kind of whack. He was in Florida, and they ran up on him, and his bodyguards like chased him down, and then he grabbed one of the bodyguards' guns and helped chase them down with the bodyguard, and he like shot after him, but he ain't hit nobody. But then he essentially ran to Dubai, and then the FBI was like, "Hey, bro, time to come back." And now I think he's still in jail. I'm not sure though, or either that or
Well,
he's on
okay.
house
So
arrest.
that was kind of dumb. I mean,
Right,
okay, you're grabbing the service weapon of somebody who is
paid to
licensed to
protect
use
you.
it, not you.
Yeah, like
And you're busting shots, endangering people.
right,
Because and he probably got that security guard hemmed up by whatever company they work for because
right,
whether you do armed security or law enforcement, like every bullet
mhm,
that's discharged, you got to explain it. You know what I mean?
right,
So yeah, then he tried to run it to Dubai. Like, yeah, that was just.
right.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah,
fuck, man. Um, but right, yeah, but that's like a whole bunch of chances, and then
right. Oh yeah, no, he didn't have chance after chance. I mean, he didn't was beating women, throwing stuff off of
oh my god,
balconies. Oh yeah, he beat his ex-wife and he threw uh was it lawn chairs off of hotel balconies and stuff. Like he was all types of stuff. Yeah, you know, talk about second, third, and fourth chances. Like that's the that's what I was saying. Like at the beginning is like it's hard to keep granting chances to somebody who's
yeah, yeah.
habitually stepping over the line. You know what I'm saying?
But and I was gonna say this, like let's just say we were a little older, like back in the '90s and shit, or early
Right.
2000s. Yeah, like we probably would have looked at Robert Downey like this fuck up. Holy
Right.
shit, what the fuck
Right.
wrong with this nigga? But he turned his life
Right.
around and look, got a second chance. One of the biggest names
Right.
in Hollywood, thanks to
And
her.
again,
So
I know this may be unpopular opinion. Low key, I felt what Jonathan Majors was saying back when that whole situation was going down. When he was getting fired, it was like before Marvel made the decision. No, it was actually I think right after he released a statement and was pretty much like, I essentially want the same chance that people like Robert Downey Jr. and Sean Penn and a lot of these other white actors have been given. I'm not saying his situation was cool, but when you take it into consideration, especially when you see the longer video, he essentially reacted after that chick chased him down the street. He like shoved her in the car, which he shouldn't have done. I'm not saying he should have, but like compare that to the fact that recently, right, we're a few weeks removed from Oscar season. The Oscars, Sean Penn won Best Supporting Actor. Sean Penn beat Madonna with a baseball bat when they was together and was locked and apparently locked her up in cages, all types of stuff. This is public information that been known, been out there. He's a 3-time Oscar winner. And
damn.
yet
Okay, I didn't know
he
he
can
was.
get
I
all
didn't know
these
he beat somebody with a
chances.
bat.
Right. But yet he can get all these chances and stuff and accolades. Whereas Jonathan Majors literally, and again, I don't really support this decision either, but he literally is so blackballed by the industry that he had to run to the racist movie studio run by Ben Shapiro. You know what I'm saying?
Which
And
I
it's just
mean
like,
now I'm still kind of wondering now, like, damn, like you're like, is really that over for you that you got to work with Ben Shapiro? Like
bruh,
no
he had
IFC
a
motherfucker wants
critically
to work with
acclaimed
you.
he had a critically acclaimed movie, Magazine Dreams. What was that, last year, the year before? That movie, I mean, had people were praising his performance in that movie, and they said it barely got shown in theaters. You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole scandal and everything. You know, and same thing too, bruh. He was slated to play um uh Dennis Rodman in the 48 hours in Vegas movie. And they
Oh
dropped him
wow,
from that. He got replaced by Lakeith Stanfield. Bruh, you mean
damn,
to tell me his crime was so egregious that he couldn't play Dennis Rodman
right?
in a
That nigga was
movie?
wild.
Exactly. That's my point. You mean to tell me that that's what
So
I'm saying when in terms of the blackballing and stuff. You mean to tell me that y'all was so quote unquote upset at him that he couldn't play Dennis Rodman? Do you know how wild Dennis Rodman was? Like, if
it,
anything, he's the
and I guess
perfect person
also
to be
too,
playing Dennis Rodman.
like besides race, would you say it's also just like a time period thing?
I think, again, I hate to use this term, but like I think the cancel cultural stuff definitely played a part in it for sure. But I think it was primarily a race thing because the way it was portrayed both in the court case and in the media was this big hulking black man was going around chasing this little innocent white girl through the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he was the one being
Meanwhile,
chased.
yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we get the footage. He was running. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, again, not to make too light of the whole situation, because it seemed like they was both just abusive to each other. But again, that's kind of my point though, is like whatever narrative y'all tried to spin him as, he was not that. Okay. And then when it comes to second chances, okay, so y'all saying that he was so okay, granted he was playing a villain, but okay, y'all said he can't be in the Marvel stuff. So y'all had literally y'all crippled y'all's franchise a little bit by throwing out your primary villain. But y'all said, okay, like he's too wild to playing Kang, a guy who murders people. But hey, that's fine. It's Disney, whatever. I can understand why they fired him from that. He has a Dennis Rodman movie coming up, and y'all say he's not allowed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Especially again coming off of the height of that Magazine Dreams movie. I mean, it was critically acclaimed. Like everybody was talking about how great his performance was in that movie. Okay, and it's just like all of these projects he had, he got thrown out from. I think they said his talent agency dropped him, all types of stuff. You know, again, that's my point too. Like when it comes to like second chances, is it's like in the public hanging and stuff like that, we get to a point where we're so like comfortable with hanging people and everything that we're not really giving people the grace to be better. Because where was his grace at? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'd see if you said something like, hey, you got to take a break for a little bit, which is fine. But
Right.
to
Yeah.
throw him out completely, because, like, I'll compare it to somebody else who hooked up with the Daily Wire, Gina Carano. I believe that those two
Oh Lord.
situations are two separate situations because Gina Carano was given grace. I know a lot of her fans and a lot of like conservatives don't like to talk about this, but before she got fired by Disney and everything, and she had to go hook up with Daily Wire and all that, she was given multiple chances by Disney to stop posting crazy stuff on her
Right.
Instagram. Yeah, it was Instagram that she was wilding on. And she kept pretty much telling them to go F themselves. You know what I'm saying? They told her multiple times until finally she posted that thing about, conservatives were being treated like Jews in the Holocaust. And then she got dropped, you know? And it's just like, again, even with that,
Man.
even somebody as crazy as her was given more grace than Jonathan Majors. Granted, I
Mhm.
obviously, I'm not saying that's the same as an assault charge, but still, she
Right.
was at
Right.
least given a chance. Oh, well,
Yeah, man.
chances.
Gina Carano was man, she was so disappointing because like back in like the 2010s, like I actually used to watch her fight because that's
Right.
that's how I heard of her. She was a fighter and she
hmm
was actually pretty damn good at it. But
I know a lot of
in
people.
the
Sorry, I was gonna say I know a lot of people like like to pretend now that she was bad, but like I liked her on The Mandalorian. She was pretty dope on that show.
oh
Like,
oh yeah, but I was gonna say the ironic thing is before like she started doing that conservative grifting that to stay relevant. Them same niggas that's like, oh my god, the freedom of speech is dead. Them are the same niggas talking about, oh,
right.
another fucking woman in the motherfucking my Star Wars. What the fuck? So
Exactly.
yeah,
They
Gina
hated
Carano
her when
was
she was
seen
on
as
there.
DEI.
Right.
So I
Right.
mean, and and I'm gonna say, that all circles around to this motherfucker, but we want to talk about 80 bajillion chances. DJ Trump, good lord.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many. Like I mean, listen. The I had to leave the right. Like I made a
Right.
mistake. That was cool the
Right.
first time, maybe,
hmm
but second and third election, we're like,
Right.
bro, how were you fooled? I mean, so
Right.
like, and like maybe if there's some like right wing pundit who wants to. I mean, it depends on the pundit, honestly, but
Right.
like if some right wing pundit wants to be like, yeah, man, I was wrong, dude. I mean, oh, you just now realize that? Like,
Right.
interesting. Because like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like for a minute, she looked like
Right.
she was about to become sane because she was one of the only people
I
who
always knew that
actually
was an act.
cared
That was
about the Epstein files. But then it's like, oh, hold on, back to being an anti-Semite, like
right.
so.
Right. Well, like, okay, well that's how I feel about, yeah, like you said, a lot of his supporters, especially when it comes to some of like the coonish black ones, like, because I
Oh
did
my
want to bring
god.
this up. It's like, okay, I like when it comes to like Chili from TLC, like the whole controversy with her, like I can maybe give her a second chance because I can see, like, for instance, like her reposting that whole Michelle Obama thing. Like Instagram did change their repost thing, and I have accidentally reposted something before by scrolling, so I can
Mhm.
understand how that was an accident. Even the whole thing too about like her donating to different campaigns, it's like I now granted I haven't cared enough, but I haven't personally seen anything concrete that she was donating to those like like campaigns or anything. But like, even if she was, I can understand if she's like sorry or whatever. I'd be willing to give her a chance. But like, you have people like Nick Cannon, bruh. Like, especially with what he said, all he and then first off, interviewing Amber Rose period is wild. I don't understand what you interviewing for her
I
for. She can't
I don't
sing,
know what
she
happened
can't
with.
rap. Like, for real, I
All
mean,
she was just a model. Like that's
right.
all she
And
was.
even
Like
then, her biggest claim to fame wasn't even modeling. It was hooking up with Wiz and Kanye.
Kanye
Like,
West. Oh yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, that was her claim to fame for years, was her connection to Kanye and Wiz. Like, it wasn't even being a model. Like, so, but it's just like the whole Nick Cannon thing. Everybody's so shocked. I'm like, I don't know why y'all are shocked. This dude been a weirdo. But again, he
But
was a weirdo in other ways though. So I
most
guess people were
most of the
able to
responses I
overlook it.
seen, most of the responses I seen though with that though, they was just like, well, shit. I mean, we don't got nothing to cancel you off of, really. I mean, you're so. I mean, the only thing that keeps him relevant is what wilding out and the fact that
Right.
he really, you know, he was really fruitful and multiplied. That's pretty much what he
Yeah.
did. Like,
Yeah. Well,
dating
like,
Mariah
cause like
Carey, I
I
guess.
remember too, like there was a lot of people who was giving him passes about like that weird like what was it he posted like was it like some like
He did some anti-Semitic shit.
yeah,
Like,
it was like Hebrew Israelite anti-Semitic type stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was like I'm just like,
mm,
yeah, but I knew he was a weirdo then. But for some reason, people thought that was okay because he was going after Jews. I don't know what it is with black folks. Like, well, some black folks. I ain't gonna put this on all of us, but for some, there's some black folks that you could just be openly anti-Semitic around. Like, I didn't know anti-Semitism was that big of a problem in our community until like the past, like I want to say like 5-6 years, because like
right.
the way it recontextualized a lot of stuff I heard growing up, because I didn't know it was that bad in our community until I got like older. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's like, go, man, they canceled him because he was speaking the truth about the Jews. I'm like, oh Lord, shut up. It's the same man
Yeah.
who spent millions of dollars trying to make a Dr. Sebi documentary. You don't even need a full hour's footage on Dr. Sebi. It literally ends after the first minute. Was he a doctor? No. Next.
No.
Like, that's the
The
document.
end. He sent more
Like,
people to the grave than he saved. I promise.
and if he was so smart,
But
why
yeah,
did he
nah,
cure
like
himself? Why he cured, like,
he was killed. B. That's why the government
yeah.
didn't want us, didn't want us to know about the natural. Oh my god, don't get me started.
Don't you know if you
but
eat some yams
like
and strawberry, you can cure AIDS? Like,
my favorite thing to hit people with too is just like. You know what aspirin is? You know aspirin is made from oak trees, right? You fucking moron. So technically, this is natural. The chemicals are nature. Like that's what I hate. Like oh, you eating chemicals. Chemicals is nature. You stupid asshole. Like like cyanide is natural. Is that good for you too? You fucking idiot. Like
yeah.
like,
But it's
but
but like yeah, but I was going to talk about like the second chances thing. It's like, again, like I feel like this Nick Cannon is just a dude who is kind of proving that he's a weirdo. And like I said, the kids thing, that's his personal choice. I don't care about that.
right,
But
yeah,
like, you know, but yeah, with the anti-Semitism thing was wild to me. Like, and the fact that everybody was crying at the time when, now I will say Viacom was definitely mad extra in their reaction to that and bumping him off of all of his stuff, because like, again, like, he was not the first guy who hosted shows to say something crazy, and
yeah.
they was definitely moving wild races behind the scenes, especially finding out that they tried to go to DC Young Fly behind his back and was like, hey, you want to take over Wild and Out? And DC Young Fly was like, no, like, why would I do that? Like,
Right,
and
I got my own
so
shit anyway. I got 85 South, so like,
that was before 85 South was popping.
oh okay,
Yeah. But still, like he was like, "Yo, like that was crazy. Like they definitely tried to snake him behind his back and went to me. They tried to get me to backdoor him and stuff. But even still, it's like I don't know. Like at this point, people made all types of excuses for Nick Cannon already. Talk about, oh, I don't think he meant to be ignorant and all this other stuff, and oh, he may not know about the Southern strategy, so that's why he thinks Democrats is still
But
connected to the
but
KKK. I'm just like,
meanwhile, the lady who took a singing gig for Trump's first inauguration, I think she's still canceled. Like I don't think she'll ever
yeah,
sing
like
again.
she never got her career back. That's the thing. Like when it comes to people with second chances and making excuses for some of these people, like that chick literally just took a job and never got her footing back. You know what I mean? Everybody really flamed her for years. Like, and I think there's times she still gets flamed. Meanwhile, people will be like, "Oh, well, Uncle Snoop, like we love Uncle Snoop. Like Uncle
Right.
Snoop, Uncle Snoop was tap dancing too. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like,
Or our Führer Kanye West. So,
yeah. Now that's a
so
dude with second, third, or fourth chances. I think
oh, I
though
mean,
the issue with the Kanye stuff, with people giving him multiple chances, and I'm guilty of it myself, is just like when you see somebody. Because I remember at first I kind of side eyed the whole like, oh, he has mental illness stuff, but like when you like really look at him, it's hard to be judgmental on a dude whose mental illness is
but
clearly
he
that
still
bad.
did
Like,
cringy stuff when he was. But I don't know. But he still did cringy shit even when he wasn't manic. So it's like I don't
mhm.
know. It's like no, I
Right,
mean like I don't hate the nigga, of course, but it's just like.
right,
Uh, but it was always like that pattern. It's just like to me at least. You're like,
right,
oh, he'll do or say something that's fucking stupid and cringe.
right.
Then all of a sudden, oh shit, oh okay, there's an album coming out. That's why he's
Yep,
being cringy. He needs attention.
right.
So
And then he'd apologize, and then he'll go like a year or two without doing nothing crazy. And then next thing you know, somebody will leak some photos of him in the studio, and then he's right back at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like I noticed that pattern as well. Like, I that's why I was always skeptical. I think the thing that really kind of like blew my skepticism of his mental illness away was watching that Netflix documentary, that Genius thing.
mhm.
Like when you see some of the behind the scenes footage that dude recorded of him, like I was like, oh yeah, I don't think he's faking. Like this is real. Like that was wild. But yeah, I mean, as we like, you know, start to wrap up, I am interested in like I know we probably didn't touch on everything you probably wanted to, but like I am interested in like your final thoughts on like the nature of second chances and like how we as a society should view them.
it's obviously very selective.
Right.
As we through the many examples that we've touched on. Uh, you know, listen, me personally, that's all who I can speak for. I mean, I feel like if you're genuinely trying to be better, then yeah, definitely second chances. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about just a second chance at cracking it in society. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Right.
obviously, there's going to be certain individuals who will probably never fuck with you again. But
Right.
I think yeah, like we should have like a rehabilitative you
Right.
know relationship with controversy. Because
Right.
listen, like you can go to a restaurant like 5 times and have a great experience. That sixth time,
Right.
you can find some hair in your food and you're never going again. And it's like it's just
Right.
crazy, right? Because you would think the odds, but
Right.
yeah, man, I like like I said, just to sum it all up. I mean, listen, we all fuck up, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, early in the show. We all fuck up, man.
Mm.
But but if you put in the effort to better yourself,
Right.
then yeah, the second chance will definitely come.
Right. I said, yeah,
On
I
third or fourth
definitely
sixth.
right. I agree with that for sure. As long as somebody has a sincere effort to change too. And then also even before we get to the point of holding these people quote unquote accountable, I think it's also important too to take the time to give a second to breathe and be like, okay, did they actually mean to hurt somebody or do X, Y, and Z? Like I think all of it on both sides of it requires people to hear each other over themselves. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing when it comes to giving somebody a second chance. You need to be able, and it's not depending on like I was mentioned earlier. It depends on what it was that happened, but it all depends on your relationship to the action. You know, But if you're at a place mentally and spiritually that you can find the time to really sit down and listen to the other person, that's the only way you can hear if they're worthy or not of that second chance. But yeah, if y'all got any thoughts on second chances and stuff, don't hesitate to go down in the comments, post anything, hit us up. Make sure y'all hit us up next Wednesday for the next episode of the show, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hit up our sister at the Raw Recovery podcast, doing big things over there. Hit up our people at the What They Want podcast on Fridays. Always dope hearing them, especially when they be having Crank Lucas and stuff on. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
see. I can't think of any other shout outs right now. I have a non shout out to Donald Trump, who's addressing the nation right now. And if he announces we go into war with Iran, I swear to God, your boy is about to be on the disabled list. But
Good for you.
but well, actually, wait, no, I'm 28. Ain't I past the draft age? I don't know. Regardless, thank y'all so
Well,
much, y'all.
they're raising the enlistment age, that's for sure. But I mean, luckily you got asthma and all that, so maybe they'll be like,
I'm black though. They'll find a reason to kill us. They'll put us
I know,
on the front line.
right? Operation Black Steel.
Yeah, I forgot about Operation, but that's funny. Oh man, but hey, thank y'all so much, y'all, for dealing with us today. Be safe, hear each other, be kind to each other, all that stuff. Peace, y'all.
Peace.